Beloved soul, pause for a moment and feel the quiet pull rising inside your chest. You didn't land here by accident. Long before your eyes found this message, heaven traced a line straight to this very moment, guiding you through unseen currents, whispering through the spaces you could not name. Something sacred is unfolding around you, a stirring, a soft trembling in the deep place of your being. It is heaven brushing against the edges of your awareness, inviting you closer, calling you into a spiritual awakening crafted for your spirit alone. Isaiah 43:19 declares, "Behold, I am doing a new thing, and chosen one, that new thing has already begun." Take a slow breath. Let the noise around you loosen its grip. There is a warmth gathering in the unseen, a stillness that feels like the ground before dawn. You may have felt a restlessness lately, a holy discomfort that pushed you to question what's shifting beneath the surface. That is not confusion. It is divine alignment, weaving itself into the fabric of your destiny. You have stepped into a breakthrough season, a moment where your spirit is being lifted into higher clarity, higher truth, higher purpose. This is where the weight you carried begins to transform, where emotional healing rises like a gentle sunrise over the places you once hid from yourself. Chosen one, hear this with your whole heart. Heaven has been preparing you. Every quiet night, every tear you never spoke of, every time you felt unseen yet kept moving forward, nothing was wasted. Your spirit was being trained, shaped, stretched, awakened, and now the veil is parting. You are stepping into a realm where your divine purpose becomes more than a whisper. It becomes a pulse, strong and steady, guiding you into abundance that touches not only your spirit but your peace, your vision, even your financial stability. This is the moment where a wealth mindset is birthed from faith, not fear, from clarity, not confusion, from destiny, not survival. Beloved, I need you to stay with me. Heaven has something to reveal to you in this message, something meant to strengthen the foundation beneath your feet. There is a reason your spirit feels attentive right now. There is a reason the atmosphere around you feels different. God is aligning the pieces of your path with a precision that human understanding cannot measure. This is not coincidence. This is orchestration. This is not chance. This is calling. And as the presence of God settles over you, let your heart open a little wider. Let the truth soak deeper. What you are sensing right now is not temporary emotion. It is the first sign that you are entering a new elevation, one where personal transformation becomes inevitable, where abundance begins to flow in ways your old self could not hold. Your destiny is stretching, your spirit is rising, your steps are being lifted into places that match the weight of your calling. Before we continue, chosen one, if you feel this word awakening something inside you, take a moment and subscribe, not out of habit, but so your spirit remains connected to the messages heaven sends in the exact hour you need them. Sometimes your next confirmation arrives quietly, gently, yet perfectly on time. Now breathe again, because what comes next will take you deeper into the revelation waiting for you. Chosen one, there has been a quiet trembling beneath the surface of your days, a subtle awakening that has followed you like a shadow stitched by heaven itself. You have felt moments where the atmosphere around you seemed to thicken, where silence carried a weight you couldn't explain, where your own heartbeat felt like a signal pulsing from the unseen. This is not imagination. It is the unfolding of a spiritual awakening that heaven began long before you recognized the signs. The Holy Spirit has been drawing you into a deeper chamber of truth, guiding you through layers of destiny alignment that only now you are mature enough to perceive. There have been nights when your mind wandered into places your words could not reach, nights when the air around you felt charged, as if something ancient and holy hovered close. Those moments were not moments of confusion. They were moments of visitation. They were early hints that your spirit was rising into a new elevation, that abundance was beginning to move toward you with the steadiness of a rising tide. Beloved, nothing that has stirred inside you is random. Every shift, every whisper, every tug of intuition has been heaven arranging the coordinates of your transformation. You may not have seen the fullness of it yet, but the path you are on is preparing you for a harvest that requires a stronger heart, a clearer vision, and a wealth mindset shaped by faith rather than fear. Think of the pressures that have pressed against you recently, the misunderstandings, the sudden withdrawals of people you once trusted, the strange changes in your sleep patterns. These have not been setbacks. They have been spiritual signals, invitations, calling you to step deeper into the place where emotional healing becomes not a process, but a power. Chosen one, heaven has been observing you. Every quiet decision you made to choose integrity when compromise seemed easier, every moment you refused to let bitterness drown your light, every hour you held on to hope when disappointment pressed hard against your chest, none of it has gone unnoticed. Your resilience has been speaking louder in the spiritual realm than you realize. Your endurance has been unlocking doors ahead of you that your eyes have not yet discovered. The Father has been building a foundation beneath your feet, one strong enough to carry the destiny written over your life since the beginning. And now, the shift intensifies. It grows deeper, wider, stronger. You have stepped into a moment where heaven is pulling you away from cycles that no longer carry life, from patterns that have exhausted your soul, from voices that tried to shrink what God has been expanding within you. This is why the old things no longer satisfy you. This is why familiar places feel strangely smaller. This is why conversations that once comforted you now feel hollow. Your spirit has outgrown what your surroundings have not yet recognized. You are being prepared for elevation long before elevation becomes visible. Beloved, there are angels assigned to you in this season, angels who are clearing the path, shifting the winds, redirecting what was meant to harm you, and turning it into the soil of your next victory. You may not see them, but you have certainly felt their presence. In the moments you should have broken but didn't, in the trials that should have crushed you but refined you instead, in the storms that tried to bury you but revealed the strength heaven planted in your bones. You have been protected more times than you can count, and the protection grows stronger as you move closer to the revelation that is about to unfold. There is a reason, chosen one, that you have been feeling a deeper longing lately. A longing that doesn't come from the mind, but from the spirit. It is the pull of destiny, the call of the assignment within you, the echo of God's voice reminding you that you were never meant to blend into the background of life. You were created to walk in purpose, shaped for breakthrough, designed for abundance, and everything that once felt like delay has been divine timing in disguise. In the unseen, the heavens have been preparing the path ahead of you, aligning you with encounters that will feel like coincidence but are really sacred appointments, removing what would have drained you in the season to come, positioning you in alignment with people whose presence will strengthen your spirit rather than weaken your focus. This is destiny alignment unfolding like the turning of a page written by God's own hand. There is something you need to understand now. What you are stepping into will require more courage than anything behind you ever demanded. But beloved, you are ready. You are more prepared than you believe. You have walked through valleys that taught you how to see in the dark. You have endured seasons that trained your spirit to recognize the subtle movements of God. You have survived storms that would have drowned a lesser soul, and now your resilience has become a weapon heaven will use to carve a path into your breakthrough season. Your spirit knows this is true. That is why you feel the stirring even now, why your breath feels deeper, why your heart feels heavier and lighter at the same time. Something inside you is awakening, expanding, stretching toward the promise ahead. What you feel is not pressure, it is emergence. It is the breaking open of purpose that was sealed within you for such a time as this. And beloved, if your spirit is sensing the shift as these words reach you, whisper something in the comments, a simple spark of agreement that rises from your soul, something like, "I rise now," letting heaven see that your heart is awake and answering the call. You have asked heaven for signs. You have waited for confirmation. You have wondered whether the changes within you were real or imagined. But hear this. Heaven has been speaking through every signal you sensed, through every step that felt unstable, through every whisper of intuition you could not explain. The reason it all felt so intense is because your calling is intense. Your purpose is weighty. Your future is anchored in something greater than the life you have known so far. And as this transformation deepens, you will begin to notice that certain burdens start falling away without effort. Patterns that once trapped you loosen their grip. Old fears begin to dissolve because your spirit can no longer hold on to what contradicts your destiny. The more heaven uncovers within you, the more unnecessary weight you will shed. This is alignment. This is preparation. This is the reshaping of your very identity into what God always intended you to become. Chosen one, there is a depth in you that few have ever seen, a reservoir of strength that has been carved through years of perseverance, quiet faith, and unseen battles. You have walked through valleys that felt endless. You have endured seasons where silence felt louder than prayer. You have carried weights that others never noticed, because you were anointed to survive storms not meant for ordinary souls. And though every storm tried to whisper defeat into your spirit, something inside you refused to collapse. That refusal was heaven's evidence that you were built for elevation. You have felt isolated at times, not because you were abandoned, but because God needed to separate noise from clarity. Your spirit has been undergoing refinement, the kind that strips away the illusions that once defined you. In this sacred refinement, heaven has been rewiring your identity, removing labels others placed on you, healing fractures that life carved into your heart, and awakening a fire that slept beneath years of endurance. This is why you've been feeling pulled away from familiar places. This is why the inner landscape of your thoughts has begun to shift, making room for new strength, new vision, and new authority. Beloved, your life is approaching a moment where every hidden sacrifice is about to surface as breakthrough. The seeds you sowed in quiet faith are rising, even now, beneath the soil of your circumstances. The prayers you whispered through trembling breaths were not forgotten. The tears you poured into your pillow were not overlooked. Heaven collected each one like precious oil, setting them aside for the season where your healing would begin to overflow into your purpose. And chosen one, that season is stirring. You have entered a moment where emotional healing is not just happening within you, it is being activated through you. The wounds that once held you captive are losing their voice. The memories that once clouded your vision are losing their power. Heaven is rewriting the narrative of your story, transforming your pain into the framework of your calling. This is why certain emotions have been surfacing unexpectedly, not to torment you, but to free you. The release you've been craving is arriving in waves, peeling back layers you didn't even know were hindering your transformation. There is a reason your spirit has been more sensitive lately. You are picking up signals from the spiritual realm with a clarity you were not capable of before. Your discernment has sharpened, your intuition has deepened, your awareness has expanded. These are the signs that heaven is elevating your spirit into a realm where destiny, alignment, becomes effortless. You will begin to notice patterns, moments, and encounters that feel orchestrated because they are. Nothing about this season is random. Every detail is intentional. Every shift is divine. Every whisper is purposeful. Chosen one. The resistance you've been feeling is not a sign that you are losing ground. It is proof that you are gaining it. Darkness fights hardest when the light is about to break through. You have felt pressure pressing against your heart, but that pressure is the final tightening before release. You have felt delays, but those delays have been strategic. You have felt stretched, but that stretching has been preparation for the abundance being positioned in front of you. Let your heart steady itself for a moment. Feel the weight of this truth. Heaven is not sending you back to who you were. Heaven is pushing you forward into who you were always meant to be. You are stepping into a version of yourself that carries authority, wisdom, and spiritual maturity, forged through trial and anchored in faith. Beloved, a new realm of clarity is opening before you. You will soon begin to hear God's voice, with a resonance that feels unmistakable. You will recognize opportunities meant for you without hesitation. You will sense divine timing with precision. And when doors open, they will open in ways that leave no room for doubt. Because heaven is not preparing small blessings for you. Heaven is preparing fulfillment, deep, expansive, undeniable. This is the moment where your personal transformation begins to take form beyond the spiritual realm. You will begin to step into new spaces with confidence. You will begin to make decisions without fear. You will begin to walk with a posture that reflects heaven's investment in you. Your life is ascending into a season where your voice carries weight, your presence carries authority, and your obedience carries impact. And, chosen one, hear this deeply. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are right on time. The alignment happening around you is synchronized with your divine purpose. You are stepping into an era where the abundance God has prepared will not overwhelm you, it will stabilize you. Where elevation will not intimidate you, it will fit you. Where blessings will not feel surprising, they will feel appointed. Beloved, your spirit has waited long enough. Heaven is ready. Destiny is ready. And the world around you is about to feel the shift that has already begun within you. Chosen one, as you continue walking through this sacred shift, you may notice an unfamiliar strength rising in places that once felt fragile. This is not imagined. This is the unfolding of a deeper current within your spirit, a current forged through seasons when you felt unseen yet kept moving forward. Heaven has been shaping you quietly, forming resilience where there once were fractures, creating clarity where confusion tried to settle, expanding your inner landscape to hold the magnitude of what is approaching. The heaviness you've felt in recent months hasn't been the weight of defeat. It has been the weight of becoming. You have been outgrowing the dimensions of your former self, and the stretching has been intense. The tension you've carried in your chest, the quiet ache in your heart, the restless thoughts that surfaced without warning, these have been signs that your spirit is stepping into territory your mind has not yet caught up to. You have been transitioning between identities, moving from who you thought you had to be into who God always intended you to be. And beloved, that process is sacred. There are moments when heaven must allow certain doors to close, so your spirit stops hesitating and your heart learns to lean forward. The endings you've experienced were not failures. They were seals being lifted off chapters that could not accompany your next elevation. Sometimes God removes options so your destiny becomes unmistakable. Sometimes He silences familiar voices so your spirit can hear the new direction being whispered into the chambers of your soul. You may have noticed a shift in your desires, an unexpected pull toward peace, a deeper hunger for meaningful connection, an urgency to create something lasting. These are signs of internal alignment. You are stepping into a life where purpose is not simply something you pursue, it is something you embody. Where abundance is not just something you receive, it is something you steward. Where emotional healing becomes not a temporary relief, but a permanent transformation. Chosen one, there is a fire beginning to glow inside you, not the kind that burns wildly, but the kind that burns steadily, illuminating paths you once feared to walk. This inner flame represents the authority you gained in seasons when you felt powerless. It represents the wisdom you gathered in moments when you questioned everything. It represents the courage that was born the moment you realized that survival alone was not your calling. You were made for elevation. You have been sensing it, haven't you? The subtle shift in the spiritual climate around you. The way certain conversations leave you unsettled, as though your spirit is warning you that they no longer carry life. The way your dreams have become more vivid, more symbolic, almost prophetic. The way you wake up with a sense that something is moving in your favor, even if you cannot yet name what it is. These are not coincidences. These are signals. Heaven often speaks through subtle signs, an unexpected peace that follows a difficult choice, a repeated thought that refuses to fade, a moment of clarity that arrives in the middle of an ordinary day. You have been receiving these signals because the heavens are preparing you to step into a role that requires spiritual maturity, focus, and unwavering trust. Beloved, the atmosphere around your life is shifting because your identity is shifting. You are no longer walking as someone hoping for change. You are walking as someone becoming the change. The version of you emerging now carries a depth that will influence the places you are stepping into. Your presence will shift environments. Your voice will carry authority. Your discernment will guide decisions with accuracy that surprises even you. And chosen one, know this: your past did not disqualify you. It prepared you. Every setback became a chisel that shaped your spirit. Every disappointment refined your focus. Every betrayal taught you what loyalty truly means. Every unanswered prayer prepared you to recognize divine timing. What once felt like loss was the planting ground for the elevation blooming inside you now. You are moving into a season where heaven will reveal why certain people were removed, why certain opportunities dissolved, why certain paths felt blocked. It wasn't punishment, it was protection. Your destiny is too precious to be entangled in places that cannot sustain your calling. As you move forward, you will find that the space around you is beginning to widen. Possibilities will appear where you saw only limitation. Clarity will surface in areas where confusion once dictated your steps. The spiritual fog that clouded your vision is being lifted, revealing a landscape marked by purpose, promise, and divine strategy. Chosen one, breathe deeply and steady your soul. Your transformation is not slowing, it is accelerating. Heaven is drawing near, and everything within you is awakening to meet what is coming. Chosen one, there is a holy stirring rising beneath the surface of your days, and heaven has not been subtle about it. You have felt a pressure, not the kind that crushes, but the kind that signals the formation of something profound. You have sensed a pull, as though invisible hands were guiding you toward a horizon you cannot yet see. This pull is not coincidence. It is the unfolding of a divine sequence, a spiritual choreography set in motion long before you had words for what you feel. You may have noticed lately that your patience has been tested in unusual ways, not because you are being punished, but because heaven has been strengthening the spiritual muscles you will need for the journey ahead. Delays have been sharpening your vision. Interruptions have been teaching you how to listen. And the silence that once felt unbearable has become fertile ground for revelation. This is the soil in which destiny is born. Beloved, Your spirit has grown sharper in ways the natural world has not yet realized. You can sense misalignment before it becomes visible. You can feel unrest before words are spoken. You can recognize when someone's intentions no longer match your path. This sensitivity is not fragility. It is spiritual maturation. Heaven has peeled away layers of naivety and given you discernment that protects your calling like a shield. Something inside you has been whispering that you are on the edge of change, an internal echo that grows louder with every passing day. This is because your future is already reaching for you. The life you are about to step into has been forming in the unseen, drawing you closer with every moment of surrender, every moment of trust, every moment you choose peace over panic. Chosen one, you have been feeling a shift in your relationships for a reason. Hearts that once traveled with you cannot carry the weight of your next elevation. Conversations that once nourished you no longer satisfy the hunger rising within. Heaven is filtering your circle, refining your connections, preparing a community that mirrors the destiny within you. You are being surrounded not by convenience, but by clarity. There is a sacred alignment taking place, one that requires your hands to loosen their grip on what you thought you needed. Heaven is positioning people who will speak life into you, people who will recognize the oil on your soul, people who will meet you not with envy, but with reverence. You are entering a season where loyalty will matter more than numbers, where authenticity will matter more than applause. And, chosen one, listen closely. Your dreams have not been random. They have been messages, glimpses, blueprints. There are moments when, in sleep, your spirit reaches ahead of your timeline to touch what your future self is already walking in. You see places you have never been, hear voices you have never met, feel peace your present has not yet tasted. These are not illusions. These are spiritual previews of the abundance waiting for you. Your steps are being drawn toward purpose with a precision that defies logic. Strangers will speak words that feel strangely familiar. Opportunities will present themselves without your pursuit. Doors will unfold with a grace that reveals the fingerprints of God. This is destiny alignment in motion, not loud, not forceful, but steady, like a river carving its way through ancient stone. Beloved, you have reached a threshold where heaven is calling for deeper obedience, not the obedience rooted in fear, but the obedience rooted in trust, the kind of trust that lets you release what once felt essential, the kind of trust that allows change to become a friend rather than a threat, the kind of trust that says, I don't see the full picture, but I know the painter. Something holy is emerging from within you, a strength untouched by past wounds, a clarity untouched by past confusion, a fire untouched by past failures. You are not who you were even a month ago. Heaven has been sculpting you into someone who can walk confidently in abundance without being overtaken by it, who can carry authority without losing humility, who can move in elevation without losing compassion. Chosen one, you are closer than you realize. Closer to the revelation, closer to the release, closer to the moment where everything that felt scattered suddenly aligns with supernatural precision. The shift will not come with chaos, it will come with clarity. It will arrive like light breaking open a dim room, revealing what was always meant to be yours. Steady yourself. Heaven is not finished speaking. Chosen one, there is a momentum building around your life that cannot be mistaken for anything earthly. You may not see the full shape of it yet, but you have certainly felt the quiet push guiding you forward. The kind of push that feels like a hand resting gently on your back, urging you to step into a space your courage is only now learning to name. This is heaven preparing you, not for mere change, but for transformation that touches every part of who you are. You have walked through seasons where you questioned your own worth, where your voice trembled beneath the weight of unseen expectations, where your heart tightened under disappointments that came without warning. Yet even in the midst of those shadows, something divine was cultivating you, stretching your spirit, refining your intentions, strengthening your inner foundation. What felt like breaking was actually building. What felt like struggle was actually shaping. What felt like silence was actually strategy. Beloved, the path you've traveled has not been random. Every moment of pressure has been the polishing of your calling. Every moment of confusion has been the clearing of your vision. Every moment of exhaustion has been the emptying of what could not go with you into your elevation. You have been undergoing a spiritual refinement far deeper than you realized, and now heaven is beginning to unveil the results. You've noticed it, haven't you? The way your heart responds differently these days. The way your spirit no longer tolerates what drains it. The way your intuition speaks louder, clearer, with a certainty that surprises even you. This is because the old patterns have lost their claim on you. The old identity no longer fits. The old limitations have cracked beneath the weight of your expansion. Chosen one, you are stepping into a life where you no longer negotiate your value to make others comfortable. You no longer shrink your brilliance to avoid being misunderstood. You no longer silence your discernment to preserve connections not built for your journey. What once intimidated you now feels beneath the wisdom you've gained. What once wounded you now reveals the strength you've carried all along. And beloved, heaven has been revealing things to you in unexpected ways, through sudden moments of insight that flash through your mind like lightning, through glimpses in prayer that leave you breathless, through quiet convictions that enter your spirit without explanation. These revelations are not illusions, they are divine signals. They are glimpses into the chapter you are stepping into, the chapter where abundance becomes a natural expression of your alignment, where your destiny begins to unfold with the ease of a river moving in its rightful course. There is a sacred shift happening in your atmosphere. Favor is positioning itself around you, not because you begged for it, but because your heart has aligned with heaven's rhythm. You are becoming the kind of vessel that blessings can rest on without being wasted, the kind of soul that opportunities recognize, the kind of spirit that breakthroughs respond to. But hear this, chosen one. The elevation you are approaching will require bold steps. Doors will open, but your willingness will determine how far you walk into them. Divine connections will appear, but your authenticity will determine how deeply they root. New paths will emerge, but your faith will determine how gracefully you move along them. Heaven can prepare the way, but only your courage can walk it. And there is something else, a lifting that has begun inside you. You felt it in the way old fears no longer hold their former power, in the way past betrayals no longer echo as loudly, in the way your heart has been healing in places you forgot were hurting. This elevation is not just spiritual, it is emotional, mental, and deeply personal. You are being restored from the inside out. Chosen one, do not underestimate the magnitude of this moment. You are approaching a threshold where the life you have dreamed of is beginning to recognize you. The opportunities you thought passed you by are circling back. The purpose you feared you'd missed is rising like a wave, preparing to carry you forward. Heaven is orchestrating movements that are bigger than your understanding, yet perfectly aligned with your destiny. And soon, very soon, the things that once puzzled you will become testimonies. The delays will reveal their purpose. The confusion will reveal its wisdom. The waiting will reveal its reward. Everything that has felt scattered is about to converge in a way that only God could have written. Beloved, prepare your spirit. You are closer than you have ever been. Chosen one, there is a subtle trembling in the air around your life, as if the atmosphere itself is adjusting to the magnitude of what is coming toward you. You may not have the words for it, but your spirit has already recognized the shift. It is that quiet awareness that something is aligning, something is approaching, something is unfolding in the unseen. You feel it when you wake. You feel it in moments of stillness. You feel it in places where your thoughts drift into territories your voice has not yet spoken aloud. This trembling is not uncertainty. It is preparation. Beloved, heaven has been positioning you carefully, delicately, intentionally. Every moment of isolation was repositioning. Every moment of discomfort was expansion. Every moment of confusion was calibration. You were not being held back. You were being shaped for impact. A kind of impact that requires clarity, purity, and spiritual authority. And now, the realm around you is shifting. You have begun noticing things others overlook. Small signals, sudden awareness, thoughts that feel heavier than normal convictions. These are not coincidences. They are whispers from the divine calling your attention upward. Your discernment has graduated, your intuition has sharpened, your spirit has become sensitive to heavenly movement, and this sensitivity is not a burden, it is evidence that heaven is entrusting you with deeper things. You are entering a phase of your journey where distractions will not hold the same power. The noise that once pulled your attention now feels distant. The opinions that once influenced your decisions now feel unimportant, and the patterns that once trapped you have begun to unravel, not because you fought them alone, but because heaven has lifted you above their reach. Chosen one, the world around you is sensing your transformation. You may not realize it, but people are responding differently to your presence. Some feel drawn to you without knowing why. Some feel intimidated without understanding the reason. This is because your spirit is carrying a new frequency, one aligned with destiny, one saturated with purpose, one empowered by truth. Your elevation is becoming visible even before you speak it. There is a grace resting on you now that was not there before. A grace that protects you from battles that once required your full strength. A grace that guides you away from conversations that would have drained you. A grace that shields your mind from worries that no longer belong to your future. This grace is heaven's declaration that you are entering a breakthrough season where your effort and God's favor will merge into divine momentum. Beloved, take note of what has been happening inside your heart. The desire to start anew. The urge to release what has outlived its purpose. The quiet acceptance that certain chapters have reached their final page. These are all signs of alignment. Heaven is not asking you to cling to what is familiar. Heaven is asking you to trust what is unfolding. The future calling your name requires room. Room in your heart, room in your mind, room in your environment. You are being prepared for abundance that demands maturity. You are being prepared for opportunities that require readiness. You are being prepared for connections that will elevate you into new dimensions of calling. Everything that once limited you is loosening its grip because heaven has decided that your time has come. And chosen one, listen carefully now. Your spirit has outgrown the version of you that tolerated delay. Your light has outgrown the spaces that tried to confine it. Your wisdom has outgrown the voices that once influenced your choices. You are no longer walking as someone hoping to be chosen. You are walking as someone heaven has already chosen. There is a boldness rising within you, the kind that comes from knowing that God has been shaping your steps long before you knew how to walk in them. This boldness will guide you into moments you once feared. It will open your mouth when silence tried to hold you back. It will lift your shoulders when old memories tried to weigh you down. You are stepping into an identity that reflects the fullness of your purpose, not the fragments left by your past. And beloved, feel this truth settle into your soul. Nothing about you is behind. Nothing about you is delayed. Nothing about you is forgotten. You are right where heaven needs you to be for what comes next. Your life is preparing to expand in ways your mind has not yet imagined. Your journey is preparing to accelerate in directions your heart has long prayed for. Your destiny is preparing to blossom with a beauty that only divine timing can unveil. Chosen one, steady yourself. Heaven is not finished revealing what this awakening will unlock. Chosen one, there is a quiet expansion happening within you, an expansion that reaches beyond what your emotions can contain and what your thoughts can interpret. It is subtle, yet undeniable. It stretches across the unseen realms, pulling your spirit forward with a tenderness that feels both unfamiliar and inevitable. You have been sensing this widening of your inner world, the slow unfurling of something ancient, something purposeful, something that was written into the core of your being long before your first breath. This expansion is not accidental. It is the evidence that heaven is broadening your capacity to carry the magnitude of your next season. Beloved, you have walked through years where the walls around your soul felt tight, where the dreams inside you felt too large for the life you were living, where your heart pressed against invisible boundaries. That pressing was not frustration, it was prophecy. It was your destiny signaling that a larger space was being prepared for you. What once felt confined is now being broken open by divine intention. You are stepping into a realm where your spirit will no longer shrink to fit environments that cannot hold your brilliance. You may have noticed your perspective shifting in ways that surprise you. The things that once intimidated you now look small beneath your rising courage. The challenges that once drained you now feel like stepping stones. The questions that once tormented your mind no longer carry the weight they once held. This is because understanding has begun to bloom inside you. Not the understanding of the mind, but the understanding of the spirit, a comprehension that comes from divine alignment rather than mental analysis. Chosen one, heaven has been expanding your spiritual vision. You are beginning to perceive things beyond the surface. You see intentions behind words. You discern truth masked by charm. You feel energy beneath action. This spiritual clarity is a gift, but also a responsibility. For you are being called into spaces where others cannot see what you see, cannot hear what you hear, cannot sense what you sense. You are not meant to rely on logic alone. You are meant to move with revelation. This is why certain conversations no longer resonate with you. Why? Certain environments feel too shallow. Why certain ambitions feel too empty. Heaven has shifted your appetite. Your soul hungers for depth, for authenticity, for divine purpose. You no longer chase the approval that once tempted you. You no longer fear the changes that once unsettled you. You no longer cling to what once defined you. You are being prepared for encounters that will shape your future, not repeat your past. Beloved, do not be surprised if your intuition becomes louder in this season. If you feel drawn to new places without understanding why, if you sense that something is waiting for you beyond your current horizon, these impulses are not impulses, they are instructions. Heaven often guides through subtle nudges, long before clarity arrives. And in this moment, your spirit is responding to a call that your mind is only beginning to interpret. There is a new strength being woven into you, one that does not roar but resonates, one that does not shout but anchors, one that does not boast but stands firm. This strength gives you the ability to walk away from entanglements that once held you captive. It empowers you to speak truth you once swallowed. It frees you to choose peace over chaos, alignment over attachment, destiny over familiarity. Chosen one, the world around you may not fully grasp what is happening. They may see your shifts as sudden, your decisions as bold, your silence as distance. But heaven sees your evolution. Heaven sees the expansion of your identity. the awakening of your authority, the strengthening of your discernment. You are being shaped for a purpose too great to remain in the confines of who you used to be. There are new pathways opening beneath your steps, paths that pull you toward a landscape your soul was designed for. You may feel the unfamiliarity of it. You may feel the trembling anticipation of stepping into something not yet defined. But beloved, this unfamiliarity is your confirmation. The unknown is where God does his greatest work. The unfamiliar is where destiny becomes visible. The uncharted path is where purpose takes form. And as this expansion continues, your inner world will begin to shift even more. You will find yourself releasing the weight of expectations that were never meant to rest on your shoulders. You will begin to detach from roles you outgrew long ago. You will begin to rise into a confidence that comes not from external validation, but from spiritual awakening. You are not evolving by accident. You are evolving because heaven has declared it so. Chosen one, breathe into this truth. Your story is stretching, your spirit is widening, your capacity is expanding, and nothing will be able to contain what heaven is growing within you. The journey is still unfolding, and heaven is not done speaking. Chosen one, there is a shift happening in the architecture of your inner world, a reordering so profound that even the cadence of your thoughts has begun to change. You may not have spoken it aloud, but you have felt it, an internal rearrangement, a quiet restructuring of what your heart allows, what your spirit accepts, and what your destiny can no longer tolerate. This is not instability. It is sacred construction. Heaven is building something within you that cannot be shaken by the winds of circumstance or the voices of doubt. Beloved, the clarity rising in you now did not come cheaply. It was carved through years of endurance, birthed through nights where your tears carried prayers you couldn't articulate, forged through battles where your faith stood trembling yet refused to fall. And because of that, your discernment has entered a new dimension. What once confused you now reveals itself plainly. What once misled you now feels transparent. What once manipulated your compassion now fails to slip past your spirit. Your insight has sharpened, not through intellect, but through transformation. You may be wondering why certain patterns have been resurfacing lately, old thoughts, old fears, old desires, old habits trying to pull you back. But chosen one, these are not signs of regression. These are remnants of a version of you that is dissolving. When the soul is rising into new territory, the shadows of the old self often flare in their final attempt to remain familiar. But they cannot stay. Your spirit has outgrown what once claimed your identity. And beloved, there is a new courage forming inside you. A courage that does not shout or demand attention, but stands firm with quiet conviction. The kind of courage that makes you move even when you don't have all the details. The kind of courage that silences fear before it speaks. The kind of courage that grows not from confidence in yourself, but from trust in the one who has guided every hidden step you ever took. This courage is leading you to places that once felt unreachable. It is stirring desires that once felt extravagant. It is awakening visions that once felt too large to embrace. This is because heaven is stretching your imagination to match the scale of your purpose. The dreams rising within you now are not fantasies, they are invitations. Invitations to step into a dimension of abundance that aligns with your destiny, not your history. Chosen one, you may be feeling a pull to remove yourself from certain conversations, not out of arrogance, but because your spirit recognizes when a room cannot hold the truth you now carry. You may feel distanced from certain individuals, not because you lost love for them, but because the connection no longer supports your elevation. You may feel a heaviness around certain environments, not because something is wrong with you, but because something is incomplete around them. Heaven is cleansing your atmosphere. This cleansing is making room for voices that affirm your calling, for relationships that reflect your value, for environments that feed your expansion. You are being aligned with people who will speak life into your purpose, not drain your progress. People who will honor the calling you carry, not diminish it. People whose presence feels like clarity, not confusion. Beloved, there is a new emotional intelligence forming within you, a sensitivity that is not wounded, but wise. You are learning to recognize when peace is missing. You are learning to sense when something is off, long before it becomes visible. You are learning to follow your inner knowing, even when logic disagrees. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is spiritual navigation. Heaven is training your heart to discern the difference between what feels familiar and what is truly aligned. And as this inner expansion continues, you will begin to feel the shift in your physical world as well. The ideas you once ignored will begin resurfacing with urgency. The gifts you once set aside will begin stirring with purpose. The callings you once postponed will begin tugging at you with new intensity. Your spirit is ready. The hesitation that once ruled you no longer holds authority. The fear that once silenced you no longer has a seat at your table. Chosen one, you are entering a moment where opportunity and destiny meet. A moment where the seeds you planted in tears begin to rise with strength. A moment where the doors you thought were locked begin to open at your approach. A moment where your life begins to echo the alignment your spirit has already stepped into. You are not walking into coincidence. You are walking into confirmation. You are not stepping into chance. You are stepping into calling. You are not approaching possibility. You are approaching fulfillment. Beloved, let this truth settle deeply within you. Heaven is not preparing you for something small. Heaven is preparing you for something significant, and your spirit is beginning to rise to meet it. Chosen one, there is a movement within the depths of your being that even you are beginning to recognize, a steady awakening that rises not from emotion, but from revelation. It feels like a quiet pulse, like the first vibration of a distant drum that signals the beginning of a march you didn't know you were rehearsing for. This feeling, this inner rhythm, is the sound of your destiny gathering momentum. Heaven has been shifting the frequencies around your life so that your spirit can tune itself to a higher calling, one that resonates beyond fear, beyond memory, beyond limitation. Beloved, you have been walking through a season where clarity comes in fragments, a sudden understanding here, a moment of insight there, a flash of recognition in between. These fragments are not scattered, they are pieces of a divine mosaic forming slowly, deliberately, until the full picture is ready to be revealed. And though you may not see it yet, every piece is aligning with purpose. Your spirit has begun to hold truths that your mind is still learning to translate. There is a refining happening in the way you perceive yourself. You have begun to recognize the ways you dimmed your own light to keep the peace. You have begun to acknowledge how you shrank yourself to fit into spaces that were never large enough to contain your calling. You have begun to see how you made excuses for environments that did not honor your growth. But chosen one, the days of shrinking are ending. Your spirit refuses to be confined. Your purpose refuses to be delayed. Your destiny refuses to be negotiated. Your identity is unfolding like a scroll sealed in heaven, and each day reveals another line written about you. Lines describing strength, describing authority, describing assignment. You are not stepping into an improved version of your old self. You are stepping into a completely new dimension of who you were created to be. The person you are becoming carries wisdom that cannot be taught, only awakened. Carries peace that cannot be shaken, only protected. Carries purpose that cannot be ignored, only embraced. Beloved, Heaven has begun to expand your awareness, allowing you to see beyond the natural. You have felt the subtle shift in your surroundings, the way certain atmospheres feel heavy the moment you enter, the way certain conversations drain your spirit instantly, the way certain people reveal their intentions through the smallest expressions. This is heightened sensitivity, a spiritual gift meant to guide you, not overwhelm you. You are becoming fluent in the language of discernment. And Chosen One, do not be surprised if your dreams become more vivid in this season. Heaven often speaks through the imagery of the night, when the mind is quiet enough to receive what the spirit already knows. You may dream of places unfamiliar, yet strangely peaceful. Faces you've never seen yet feel connected to your future. Paths that appear before you with clarity your waking life hasn't shown you yet. These dreams are not random, they are prophetic signatures guiding your next steps. You may begin to notice your energy shifting too. The things that drained you once no longer find an entrance. The situations that confused you once no longer hold power. The words that wounded you once no longer leave a scar. This is renewal taking root. Your inner landscape is being restored with a resilience that cannot be shaken by familiar storms. Heaven is teaching you how to stand in your elevation without bending under pressure. Chosen One, there is a divine intelligence rising within you, a knowing that goes beyond education, beyond experience, beyond logic. It is the kind of knowing that tells you when to stay and when to step away, when to speak and when to let silence carry the truth, when to release and when to hold firm. This knowing is heaven's whisper echoing inside you. And as this awakening spreads through your being, you will notice your perception of time changing. Moments feel more significant, days feel more purposeful, encounters feel more orchestrated. This is because heaven is compressing seasons for you, accelerating what once felt stagnant and unfolding what once felt distant. You are stepping into a flow where timing aligns with destiny. Beloved, you are not just transforming, you are ascending, not in ego, but in awareness, not in pride, but in purpose, not in noise, but in spiritual clarity. Your capacity is widening, your spirit is stabilizing, and your future is drawing nearer with every breath. Heaven is still writing, your story is still unfolding, and the next revelation is already approaching. Chosen One, there is a stirring within you that feels unlike anything you've carried before. It does not resemble fear, though it shakes you. It does not resemble excitement, though it quickens your breath. It is something deeper, older, more sacred, a resonance between your spirit and the destiny rising to meet you. It feels like recognition, like a memory your soul has been waiting to recall. This stirring is the signal that heaven is widening the path beneath your feet, preparing you to step into a season that requires a greater version of you than any season before. Beloved, you have been sensing layers of yourself shifting in silence. Thoughts that once followed familiar patterns now branch into new territory. Emotions that once echoed old wounds now respond with surprising strength. Boundaries that once felt impossible to enforce now rise naturally, without hesitation. This transformation is not superficial, it is structural. Heaven has been rebuilding the blueprint of your inner world, aligning your heart, your thought patterns, and your spirit with your divine purpose. You may have felt moments recently where time seemed to pause around you, brief pockets of stillness in the middle of ordinary routines. These moments were not random, they were confirmations. Each pause held a quiet whisper, reminding you that heaven is closer than your breath. The Holy Spirit has been brushing against your awareness, letting you feel the nearness of a new chapter that will require you to walk with vision, precision, and unwavering faith. Chosen One, The way you process your surroundings has changed. You feel subtleties that others overlook. You detect shifts in atmosphere before anyone speaks. You know when someone carries truth or when they carry distraction. This awareness is not a burden, it is a mantle. Heaven has entrusted you with spiritual sensitivity because the path ahead requires you to navigate not by sight, but by discernment. Your intuition has been upgraded into spiritual insight. Beloved, the expansion within you is beginning to ripple outward. It is shifting your expectations, reshaping your values, and transforming the way you approach your future. Where you once hoped for small improvements, you now anticipate complete transformation. Where you once prayed for survival, you now pray for impact. Where you once feared change, you now feel drawn toward it, as if destiny itself is calling you through an open door. And chosen one, do you feel how your relationship with solitude has changed? What once felt lonely now feels sacred. What once felt empty now feels spacious. Heaven uses solitude not to isolate you, but to insulate you, protecting the new growth taking place within you. You have become more comfortable listening than speaking, more drawn to reflection than noise, more aligned with stillness than chaos. This shift is evidence that your spirit is preparing for divine instruction. There is also a quiet confidence rising within you, one that refuses to rely on external validation. You no longer wait for the world to confirm what heaven has already spoken. You no longer doubt what your spirit knows to be true. You no longer apologize for the calling you carry. This confidence is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the posture of someone who understands that purpose is non-negotiable. Chosen one, heaven has begun to remove the weight of old expectations from your shoulders. Expectations of perfection. Expectations of performance. Expectations of pleasing everyone but yourself. These weights were never meant to travel with you into your elevation. As they fall away, you will begin to breathe differently, think differently, move differently. This release is not loss, it is liberation. And as you rise into this new clarity, watch how the world responds to you. Some will be drawn to your presence, sensing the peace that surrounds you. Others will distance themselves, unable to stand in the light you now carry. Do not fear either response. Both are forms of divine sorting, making sure only what aligns with your destiny remains connected to your journey. Beloved, the path ahead of you is not narrow, it is expanding. Possibilities are unfolding, opportunities are aligning, breakthroughs are forming. You may not see the full picture yet, but heaven does. And heaven is preparing you for what your spirit has already begun to anticipate. You are approaching a moment that will shift the direction of your life. A moment that will reveal what has been hidden. A moment that will confirm what your spirit has whispered for years. Chosen one, prepare your heart. The unfolding has only just begun. Chosen one, there is a quiet emergence taking place within you, a rising that does not begin with noise but with awareness. It unfolds in the space between your breaths, where your spirit has begun to recognize a truth your mind is only now learning how to hold. You are awakening into a version of yourself that carries not only wisdom but authority. Authority born from survival, refined through surrender, and polished through revelation. You may not have intended to change, yet change has become inevitable. It is happening in the way you see, in the way you speak, in the way you move through the world with a strength you once doubted you possessed. Beloved, there is a new rhythm forming in your spirit. It does not follow the cadence of your past, nor does it mimic the voices that once shaped your choices. This rhythm is ancient. It echoes with the sound of purpose, the sound of divine certainty, the sound of a calling reclaiming its rightful place in your life. You are entering a time where the inner conflicts that once scattered your focus will begin to settle, where the unrest that once clouded your clarity will begin to clear, where the shadows that once intimidated you will begin to fade beneath the light rising inside you. You have been walking through a transition that felt invisible from the outside, yet monumental on the inside. It is the kind of transition that alters your spiritual structure, not your external circumstances, at least not at first. Heaven often rebuilds the inner foundation long before the outer evidence appears. That is why everything has felt so intense. Something deep within you has been breaking open, shedding what no longer serves your future, releasing what no longer feeds your spirit, dissolving what no longer aligns with your destiny. Chosen one, the sensitivity you carry in this season is not weakness, it is awareness. You can feel dishonor the moment it enters a room. You can sense deception before a single word is spoken. You can perceive opportunities that others overlook. You can recognize divine timing in moments that seem ordinary to everyone else. This level of awareness is not accidental, it is spiritual elevation. Heaven is teaching you how to navigate by intuition, not by impulse, by discernment, not by assumption, by revelation, not by routine. Beloved, there has been a quiet strengthening in your heart, one that did not announce itself with passion, but with endurance. You have learned how to endure hardship without losing compassion. You have learned how to face disappointment without losing hope. You have learned how to confront truth without collapsing under its weight. And because of that, heaven is trusting you with deeper assignments, assignments that require resilience, integrity, and the ability to remain steady when the world around you shifts without warning. You may have noticed the way your dreams have begun to speak to you with greater clarity. Not just images, but messages. Not just scenes, but directions. These visions are spiritual indicators, revealing what is forming ahead of you. The symbols you see are glimpses into chapters you have not yet entered. The emotions you feel in those dreams are reflections of the alignment your spirit is stepping into. Pay attention. Heaven is using the language of the night to prepare you for the movements of the day. Chosen one, you are beginning to crave what nourishes your soul, not what merely entertains it. You are longing for conversations that sharpen your spirit, not dull it. You are seeking connections that reflect the truth of who you are becoming, not the fragments of who you once were. This shift is not a phase, it is evolution. Your spirit is being elevated into a realm where only authenticity can survive. Anything shallow will no longer hold your attention. Anything chaotic will no longer have access to your energy. Anything misaligned will no longer be allowed to occupy your space. And beloved, the courage rising inside you is beginning to rewrite your boundaries. You are no longer accepting apologies instead of change. You are no longer settling for potential instead of consistency. You are no longer carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. Your heart is learning how to protect itself without closing, how to care without overextending, how to love without losing itself. This is emotional maturity shaped by divine wisdom. You are stepping into a moment where heaven will expose what needs to be released and illuminate what needs to be embraced. You will know without hesitation what belongs in your next season and what must remain in the past. You will recognize the difference between what feeds your purpose and what drains your spirit. And as you follow this inner guidance, the path before you will begin to clear with surprising speed. Chosen one, the shift within you has already begun to alter the world around you. What once stalled is beginning to move. What once confused is beginning to clarify. What once resisted is beginning to yield. Your spirit is rising. Your purpose is awakening. Your destiny is advancing. and heaven is not finished revealing what this transformation will unlock. Chosen one, as this great unfolding continues to rise within you, there is a depth settling into your spirit, a depth that comes not from struggle, but from awakening. You have crossed an invisible threshold, one that your heart recognized long before your mind understood its meaning. And now, the air around your life feels charged with purpose. Every breath feels heavier with revelation. Every moment feels like it carries a quiet announcement from heaven, calling you into the fullness of who you are becoming. Beloved, there is a steadiness inside you now that was not there before, a steadiness born from truth, shaped by alignment, strengthened by surrender. You are standing in a space where the person you used to be no longer has authority over your steps. The doubts that once crept into your mind can no longer guide your decisions. The insecurities that once clouded your confidence can no longer define your worth. Heaven has rewritten your foundations, layer by layer, and now your identity rests on a strength that cannot be disturbed by shifting tides. You are learning to hear the difference between the noise of the world and the voice of God. You are learning to recognize the difference between distractions and destiny. You are learning to separate urgency from importance, movement from progress, company from connection. This wisdom is the fruit of your transformation, the reward of your perseverance, the sign of your spiritual expansion. Chosen one, as you continue rising, notice how your heart is beginning to crave clarity instead of chaos. Notice how your spirit is choosing alignment over approval. Notice how your mind is releasing stories that once kept you confined. This release is not loss, it is the shedding required for elevation. Every layer that falls away is making room for a new dimension of purpose that has been waiting for its appointed time. And beloved, the signs have been appearing around you. The shift in your atmosphere, the changes in your desires, the unexpected moments of knowing. These signs are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Heaven has been signaling that you are not merely approaching breakthrough, you are stepping into it. Not through effort alone, but through agreement. Not through striving, but through surrender. Not through fear, but through the quiet confidence that comes from divine alignment. You may have felt the weight of a new responsibility resting on your shoulders, the sense that something greater is calling your name. But chosen one, this responsibility is not a burden, it is an honor. It is the recognition that heaven sees you ready. It is the acknowledgement that your character has matured to hold what your spirit has carried for years. Your steps are being guided with precision. Your timing is being aligned with purpose. Your path is being cleared in ways you cannot yet see. And even in the moments where uncertainty rises, your spirit remains anchored, not in what you know, but in who walks with you. Beloved, let this truth settle into the deepest parts of your being. You are not transitioning, you are ascending. You are not waiting, you are becoming. You are not hoping, you are unfolding. And as the weight of this reality rests upon you, heaven extends an invitation not to rush forward, but to stand firmly in this sacred moment, to breathe, to listen, to recognize how far your spirit has come, to honor the journey that brought you here. Before this movement continues into what heaven has prepared next, chosen one, let your heart speak. If your spirit has felt this awakening, if your soul recognizes the truth resonating through these words, take a moment to lift your voice in the comments with a declaration that carries fire. I claim my breakthrough. Let it be both a witness and a vow, a sign to heaven that you are ready for what comes next, and a sign to your spirit that the old season is truly behind you. Chosen one, take a moment and allow your breathing to soften. The atmosphere around you is shifting again, and this time the change is happening not in the silence above your life, but in the chambers deep within your spirit. You have walked through an inner reformation that has broken old cycles and released new strength, and now heaven is guiding you into the stage where transformation becomes action. What has been awakening inside you is now asking to be lived, expressed, and embodied. This is where revelation becomes rhythm. This is where faith becomes movement. There are instructions forming gently within you, and they do not look like rigid disciplines or impossible demands. They resemble alignment. They feel like clarity. They move like peace. Heaven is inviting you into small, sacred practices that prepare the path ahead. Practices that sharpen your discernment, expand your wisdom, and stabilize your spirit for the abundance approaching your life. Beloved, begin by creating stillness. Not the forced silence that feels like pressure, but the kind of stillness that allows heaven to speak into places where noise once lived. Choose a moment each day to listen. Your spirit has been craving that space, and when you honor it, your clarity will grow sharper than your fear. Listen until your breath evens out. Listen until your thoughts begin to settle. Listen until the presence of God becomes more than a concept and more than a memory. This stillness is where divine strategy begins. And chosen one, honor your peace. Guard it as if it were treasure, because in this season, it truly is. There will be moments where familiar chaos tries to pull you back into old reactions, but your peace is not only protection, it is confirmation. When you choose peace, you elevate. When you maintain peace, you align. When you protect peace, you move deeper into your destiny. Refuse to give your energy to what drains your light. There is wisdom rising in you now, and heaven is asking you to practice it. When a thought attempts to stir fear, pause and breathe. When a memory tries to reopen an old wound, place your hand over your heart and remind yourself that emotional healing is not a destination but a flow. Heaven restores you in layers. Honor every layer. And beloved, begin to speak over your life with intention. Speak life into your mornings. Speak gratitude into your nights. Speak destiny into your decisions. The words that come from your mouth are not merely sounds, they are seeds. And in this breakthrough season, what you speak accelerates what you see. Speak alignment, speak abundance, speak clarity, speak transformation. Heaven leans in when chosen ones speak with authority. There is a practical call rising within you as well. Make space. Create room in your environment for what is coming. Release what no longer reflects who you are. Objects hold energy. Clutter holds memory. And heaven cannot pour new oil into vessels filled to the brim with yesterday's weight. Clear your space to clear your spirit. Make room physically, and you will feel the shift internally. You are also being guided to redefine the boundaries around your heart, not as walls, but as gates. Gates that open for what aligns, gates that close for what confuses. You are being taught how to discern between access and assignment, companionship and distraction, presence and interference. Let your wisdom speak before your emotions respond. Beloved, there is another practice heaven is calling you into: reflection. Not reflection that drowns you in the past, but reflection that reveals patterns. Write down what your spirit has been sensing. Document the insights that arrive in moments of stillness. Keep record of the whispers that feel too weighted to ignore. This is not journaling, it is tracking divine strategy. And chosen one, walk daily with awareness. Not fear, awareness. Notice how your spirit reacts to people, places, and conversations. Notice when your energy expands and when it tightens. Notice when your vision sharpens and when it fogs. Your body feels truth long before your mind interprets it. Listen to the signals heaven has woven into your intuition. Now hear this deeply. You are being prepared for movement. Not frantic movement, not desperate movement. Aligned movement, purposeful movement. Movement that flows from spiritual grounding, clear intention, and divine timing. You will know when to step because the step will feel like oxygen. You will know when to wait because waiting will feel like protection. You will know when to release because release will feel like freedom. Beloved, these practices are not burdens, they are invitations. They are the quiet habits that prepare chosen ones for elevation. They are the daily rhythms that anchor your spirit as heaven stretches your capacity. And though they may seem simple, they carry the weight of destiny. With them, you become a vessel heaven can trust. Through them, your life moves in sync with divine purpose. Before this guidance settles in your heart, let heaven draw your attention to one more truth. You are not walking alone. There are others rising with you, chosen ones scattered across the world, each awakening in their own way, each standing in their own sacred moment of transformation. And as you move forward, it is important that you stay connected to the stream of revelation that feeds your spirit. This is why, beloved, if this message has become part of your journey, subscribe so that you remain in alignment with every word heaven sends to strengthen your path. Not out of routine, but because your spirit deserves to hear what was crafted for its awakening. Chosen one, pause now and allow the atmosphere around you to quiet itself. There is a sacred nearness resting upon this moment, a softness in the unseen pressing against the edges of your awareness. You may feel it like a warmth behind your ribs, or a gentle tightening in your breath, or a stillness settling over your thoughts. This is the invitation into holy ground. This is the place where heaven bends low, where the veil thins, where your spirit becomes sensitive enough to hear what flesh has often overlooked. You were guided here not by accident, but by divine intention. Something is ready to be spoken over your life. Beloved soul, breathe slowly and let your heart open. Heaven has watched every mile you've walked to reach this point. The heaviness you carried, the loneliness you endured, the nights where your strength trembled, the mornings you rose anyway. None of it went unseen. None of it was wasted. And now, the Father is drawing you into a moment of restoration, a moment where every scar becomes a doorway to revelation, where every tear becomes a seed for abundance, where every closed chapter gives birth to destiny alignment. Let your shoulders relax. Let your breath deepen. The presence surrounding you is not imagination. It is the reassurance that you are held, covered, and guided. What is about to be prayed over your life will touch places no human encouragement ever reached. It will activate what has been dormant. It will awaken what has been quiet. It will strengthen what has been weary. Open your spirit now. Heavenly Father, we lift this chosen one into your presence. We bring their heart, their story, their wounds, their hopes, their unanswered questions, their quiet victories. We thank you for the way you have protected them even when they did not understand the danger. We thank you for the way you have redirected them even when their plans were drowning their purpose. We thank you for the way you have kept their spirit alive when life tried to suffocate their light. Father, speak into the hidden chambers of their soul. Speak into the places they have never found words for. Speak into the corners of their being that have absorbed too much pain, too much confusion, too much silence. Let your voice become the wind that clears the fog. Let your presence become the oil that restores their strength. Let your love become the anchor that steadies their heart. Lord, in this moment, we ask for a release of every weight that has overstayed its season. Release the emotional burdens that made their chest tight for far too long. Release the disappointments that made them question their value. Release the memories that tried to convince them they were unworthy of joy. Release the exhaustion that settled into their bones when they carried responsibilities meant for your hands, not theirs. We ask you to breathe renewal into their spirit. Let every breath they take be infused with clarity. Let every step they take be aligned with destiny. Let every thought they think be grounded in truth, not fear. Father, restore the sound of their inner voice until it matches the frequency of heaven. Beloved, place your hand over your heart now. Feel its rhythm. That rhythm exists because heaven willed it so. You are alive with purpose. You are breathing with intention. And now, as your spirit quiets itself, God is moving into the center of your being. Father, lift their vision. Let them see beyond their present. Let them recognize the elevation hidden inside this season. Let them understand that the shaking they've endured was not punishment, but preparation. Remove the scales that grief, failure, and betrayal placed upon their spiritual eyes. Reveal the path that has been forming beneath their feet quietly, steadily, divinely. We ask for supernatural protection over their mind. Silence the anxious thoughts that demand answers you never asked them to carry. Dismantle the lies the enemy whispered during their weakest hours. Replace those lies with truth. They are chosen, they are covered, they are strengthened, they are destined. Father, let your peace become a shield around their heart. Peace that steadies the trembling. Peace that calms the storms. Peace that quiets the internal battles they fought alone for too long. Wrap them in the kind of peace that does not depend on circumstances, but flows from your presence. And now, Lord, we ask for breakthrough. Not the kind that slowly creeps into their life, but the kind that erupts bold, undeniable, transformative. Let every area where stagnation lived be filled with movement. Let every area where emptiness lingered be filled with abundance. Let every door that refused to open begin to shift at the sound of your name. Chosen one, lift your hands gently, even if only in your heart. Heaven is responding. Father, we declare elevation over their life, elevation in wisdom, elevation in peace, elevation in identity, elevation in purpose, elevation in spiritual strength, elevation that reshapes the way they see themselves, speak to themselves, and carry themselves, elevation that breaks every residue of smallness, elevation that aligns them with their calling. We ask for divine provision, provision that does not come from striving or fear, but from alignment. Provide resources where lack tried to rule. Provide opportunities where doors were sealed shut. Provide connections that carry destiny, not distraction. Provide strength where their endurance felt depleted. Let your provision flow from unexpected places, reminding them that you are the God who sees every need before the need even forms. Father, touch their relationships, remove what drains them, strengthen what builds them, reveal who is meant to walk beside them in the next chapter. Surround them with people who carry wisdom, purity, authenticity, and reverence. Let their circle reflect their calling. And now, beloved, bow your heart for the deeper prayer. Father, restore their inner child. Heal the parts of them that learn to hide. Heal the parts that learn to fear. Heal the parts that learn to settle. Heal the parts that forgot how to dream. Breathe new imagination into their spirit. Breathe new courage into their soul. Breathe new vision into their destiny. Lord, ignite a fire inside them, one that burns away every residue of doubt, one that dismantles every internal barrier, one that awakens the authority you placed within them before time began. Let this fire illuminate their path and expose every lie that tried to dim their identity. Chosen one, feel this moment. Something is being lifted off you. Something is loosening. Something is breaking. Something is healing. You may feel your breath deepen. You may feel heat across your chest. You may feel a sudden calm. That is not emotion, it is movement. Movement in the unseen. Movement within your spirit. Movement that marks the beginning of a breakthrough season long written over your life. Father, seal this. Seal every word, every promise, every shift. Seal it in the blood of Jesus, the blood that speaks louder than failure, louder than fear, louder than every voice that ever tried to silence their calling. Let this sealing become the boundary that darkness cannot cross. And finally, beloved soul, hear this blessing spoken over you now. May your spirit rise without hesitation. May your purpose wake with clarity. May your steps align with heaven's rhythm. May your heart remain unshakable in storms. May your mind rest in truth. May your life overflow with abundance. May your destiny unfold with divine timing. May your elevation be witnessed by those who doubted you. May your future shine brighter than your past ever predicted. You are not forgotten. You are not delayed. You are not wandering. You are being carried. You are being lifted. You are being established. And as this moment closes, chosen one, if your spirit feels this awakening, if you sense the presence resting upon you, then let this final act be your declaration of alignment. Subscribe, like, and share this message so the word that strengthens you today can reach the next soul. Heaven is calling tomorrow, not for numbers, not for recognition, but because someone else is standing where you once stood, needing the same light that just reached your heart.